It is natural that every person who engages in the purchase of a house would one or the other time face difficult economic circumstances which lead to his or her default on her mortgage bond obligations. But that should not mean the loss of his house. There are various ways in which this can be resolved. But let's suppose that, the person cannot afford the mortgage bond anymore and the house is being sold. There is no remedy. The person cannot save his house by repaying the mortgage bond. A default judgment is taken and the court declares the property immovable property executable. In other words, it must be sold in execution of the judgment. What then happens is that whilst the courts engage in corrupt activities compromising our entire justice delivery system, in fact, when immovable property is to be sold, it must be sold at a public auction. But what happens is buyers of these immovable properties are predetermined way ahead of the judicial auction. Hennis would meet Mr. A, B, C, or Andre Visser would meet with Mr. X, B, Y, and they will determine that they are going to sell a property which market value is 1.9 million Namibian dollars for $250,000, and that would be the end of the auctioning process, of the judicial auction. And what then happens is these guys call a public auction. They decide who will partake and participate in this public auction. They also decide who will not participate in them at their personal whim. And then after all, it appears as if a judicial auction has taken place.